Okay, please, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone for coming to this session. Okay, so in today's session, we'll be learning reproducible research using version control, such as GitHub and GitLab. The whole world, especially in the advanced countries, they started using open project. They call it open project, scientific open project, whereby you make your research open for others to contribute and to see your source. So what this will help you to do is that it will make your code or your project to be more efficient, and it will be more organized and also feasible for others to contribute. So you might be wondering, what is a reproducible research? Of course, it's just the ability to reproduce what other people have done, because they've made their source code available for use. Imagine you have seen a particular research work which you're highly interested and you like to contribute to it, or maybe even to reproduce what the researchers have done. For example, see this one, for example, this is Buki. Buki and her team did a great work, right? And they published the paper. But you like the paper, but they did not make the source code available. I believe that you not be happy with them. But this is Shade. Shade and her team also did a great work, but they made their work to be available either on GitHub or GitLab. And you can see the source code, you can see the data, and you have access to everything. And in fact, you can even ask them questions of a particular line of code that is not clear to you. And that is what reproducible research is all about. So reproducible research is just the ability to document all the steps that involve in the research project so that people can see the result, and it also makes your work to be more integrity and reliable. So you may be wondering, why is this important? Of course, it makes your work to be more transparent and of course accountable. And by fact, by the essence that people can see your source code, they will be adding more values to it, maybe through issues, raising different things like, okay, I believe maybe in the other version of the work, you can do like this, you can do like that. But if you don't make the work to be available, how will people contribute to it? And that is what we are going to learn in this session today. What are the challenges of reproducible research? Of course, it requires a lot of time, right? Attention to detail, because you have to document everything. You have to organize your files, and in your code, there should not be any error whatsoever. So which means that you have to clear all the errors, while testing everything until it is clear to you and you're able to get a good result. So you have to document everything using version control. And by that, as you can see, it will be a time-consuming work, because it also requires level of technology. What is that version control? I believe that everybody has used MS Word or Google Docs before. And let's say while you are in the university, you work with your supervisor for your dissertation, and your supervisor is using MS Word with the ability of track changes. And when you send the work to your supervisor makes some comments, send it back to you. You open it on the MS Word, and you can see different history, who edited this, who did this, who did that. And that is what version control is all about. Version control helps you to record changes, to your files over a period of time. Of course, it also allows many people to work on the same project without overwriting any other's work. In this session, we'll be looking at Git as a version control. So why is Git important? Git is one of the most commonly used version control all over the world. Reason being that, number one, it has a speed and it's somehow flexible, and it can handle so many projects at the same time. Of course, it is not only Git that is in town. We also have some other version controls, such as Mercurial, SVN, and Paphos. But some big companies, such as Google, Microsoft, and all of that, and they are using Git. Of course, most of you are using Python programming. If you want to develop a particular library in Python, I believe that you can use Git to do that. But we in the R community, we mostly use Git as a version control. Before you can work with Git, you have to understand some Git command. Of course, there are not that many, and you have to know it by heart. Not that every time you have to start Googling. And one of them is Git init, which helps you to set version control on your directory. Before you can do any reproducible work, you have to have an organized files, create a directory and title it as a project. Then from there, you set in your Git by using Git init. And Git status helps you to see the kind of changes in your directory. As you're adding more files, doing a lot of code in your script, this is what tracking everything, and you can see the history of what happens in your directory. Then we also have Git diff. So we show the difference in your file when you did it and how you did it. You can easily see it using Git diff. Then we have Git add, which helps you to put your file into a staging area, which will be included in the project history. I believe some of you have been using Git before and you can easily see this. But in the practical session, you will see how to do that in action. So we also have Git commit. When you add a file to the staging area, you have to write a message of why you did that. And what Git commit will do is that it will store changes of what you made, who made the changes, the time at which the change was made, and the kind of message which describes the purpose of the changes. Then we have Git push, which gets your code into the a website that hosts Git, such as GitHub or GitLab. Now we have Git branches. What is Git branching? Let's say you have something which you hold very, very important and you don't want anything to touch it. Of course, in that way, you can create a version of it so that when that new feature is well tested and okay to be used, then you can now merge it to the one you hold highly esteemed. And that is what Git branching is all about. And we have code such as Git branch, which shows the list of branches that you have on your repository. We also have Git switch, which helps you to switch between Git branches. Then we have Git merge. Of course, if you already created a new branch and you have put your code on it and everything is well done, well documented, so you may want to put it into the main branch. And to do that, you will likely use Git merge. Everything about version control through Git is always on your local repository, on your computer. But we have a website which helps you, to put everything on a website. And one of them is GitHub or GitLab. So why are they very, very important? The first thing is that both GitHub and GitLab are open source. That is, they are free and the source code is available for you to also contribute. It also has a lot of collaborative features such as pull requests, issues, wiki, and many other collaborative facilities or functionalities. Then you can easily integrate them with other tools. Let's say you want to deploy your model. Of course, we have Streamlit for you, and Streamlit can easily work with GitHub. And by that, you see your model being deployed on a website. Then it has large user community. As you know, Python and R programming languages have large user community. The same thing with GitHub or GitLab. Of course, all of you here now, I believe, we have a GitHub and you are part of the user. So how do we set GitHub and GitLab? The first thing is that you will create a GitHub account. Remember, it is free, and you can easily give yourself a good username that you can be using forever. Then you create a new repository. From there, you clone the repository to your computer. I'm going to show you how to do that later. Then you add your file to the repository. You continue doing your work, and when everything is fine, then you can write a descriptive commit message to see what you did in that project, and then you push it to the website, GitHub or GitLab. The same way, you can also use GitLab. Just as you can see, they are just alternative. But I believe that many people use GitHub than GitLab. It's not a fact, but I just think so. Now, for version control, we have a workflow that you must follow to have a good reproducible research. The first one is that you need to create a workflow. So how do you want to organize your files, and how you want to create your own repository. So one of them is just this. So you have to specify which version control you want to use. Is it GitHub or GitLab? And then you continue doing you clone the repository, you create a new branch. If you have a new feature you want to add, then you continue to work on your research. When everything is fine, you do git add to add the files to the staging area. You commit your changes, you merge, you push, you document, you communicate. Because I believe a very good research work must have a maintainer. So that maintainer work is to be able to, in the pull request, look at the code, review the code, and then put it in the main branch. And then everybody can communicate within the team to see how far you have done with your project. I would like to say that from 4 to 7 is a repetitive task. It's not that once you follow this workflow, that is just the end. No, so you continue to work on your research, you continue to make changes, you continue to merge, continue to push, you continue to document until your project is done and you are happy with it. Remember, another part of it is that you have to organize your files. Not that everything will just be scattered around your computer. You need to have a meaningful file name so that when people the purpose of this workflow is to be able to reproduce your work. And when somebody is reproducing your work, it means that you must make the life so easier for that person. It's always good to leave this art in a good order, right? So you must be organized with your projects. You also have to document changes, as I said before. It is important to always write a descriptive commit message, not that git upload, I added this. No, you have to explain why you did that in a short form message. Version control allows us to collaborate with many people. And you need to understand how it will be done. When somebody is collaborating with you, you have to assign roles and responsibility. You have to choose the project leader who is going to maintain the code, and then you have to assign responsibilities to avoid confusion. Then we also have a tool such as pull request issues. What is pull request? Let's say I created a package and you love it, and you see that, oh my God, I can also contribute to this package. Of course, you not just call me, hi Ezekiel, please add me to your collaborator. No, you don't need to ask me. Of course, it is opened. What we do is just to clone the work, create a branch, do your work. When you are done, then you create a pull request. When I see the pull request, I'll see like, okay, don't they want to collaborate with me? I can see, I will review what you have done. If I'm okay with it, then I can then merge it to my main repository. And by that, you are automatically a collaborator of my work. It is always important to set a code of conduct Not that Jack and Harry will be the one to be collaborating with you. So you have to explain what you want them to do with your project, how you want them to do it, and the kind of language they have to use. For example, now I created a particular package, and a guy in the US, was having a problem with it. I tried to help the person, and was still, asking me several questions that I believe he can easily read through my README. What I did was that, okay, this is an open project, and I have a little thing I think I can explain to you. If you don't understand it, please read the README, try so many examples. I believe by that you understand it, instead of you wasting my own time. Okay, now we need to practice. So let's see how we can set up our GitHub account and GitLab account. So I'm going to visit a website. Let me try to hide this. Okay. So for GitHub, so the website is github.com. All right. So once you put github.com there, it will take you to the GitHub account, and from there you can create your username. Remember, it is always good to have a good username. So mine is GBG Analyst. So wherever I go, I always go with this username. Okay. Now, how do you create a repository? So you come over here and you see new repository, then you click on it. All right, as you can see, repository name. It is always good to have a professional repository name. So, and that thing can also go along with what your project is all about. So I have a directory on my computer.
Hi, Ezekiel. Please
Hello.
see your GitHub screen. You're sharing just your PowerPoint screen.
Oh my God, so sorry. Thank you. Hello, can you still hear me?
Ezekiel, we can't hear you and we can't see your GitHub screen.
Okay, I'm trying to show my video again. Sorry.
All right, no problem.
Please, can somebody stop? Okay, let me return to the meeting. All right, so sorry, I can see now. All right, great. Okay, sorry for the confusion. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, your Chrome screen is up.
Okay, it's up now. All right, all right. So let me start from the beginning. Okay, so we have a GitHub account. So you go to the github.com. So you create a good username for yourself. As I said before, I always go with this username, GBG Analyst. Okay. And if you want to create a repository, so you click on this plus here. All right. And then you click on new repository. So from here now, you can give a good repository name for your project. So I have this work. Can you see my folder, please? Hello, can you see my folder?
Yes.
No, you can see my folder, right?
Yes, I can see your folder. Yes.
All right, great. Okay, so I'm going to practice with this work called fraud detection project. Okay, I can copy, edit the address, just copy everything here, then go to the website, put it here like this. Of course, it is available, all right. And these are optional description. Of course, I want to make it, so in the repository, you can either make it public or private. Okay, so if you are doing something very, very sensitive that you don't want anybody to see, you can easily be on the private level until you are done, right? But for the sake of this work, I'm going to use a public. All right. Then add readme. I don't want to add readme. I can do that one later. Okay. Then we have a license. So if you are dealing with a project or a package, then you can choose how you want people to see your work, right? So, but for now, let's leave the license. Then you can now click on create repository. Okay, so this is your repository now, as you can see. So it's giving you what to add, how to do it, and everything. But before you can do all of this on the command line, of course, we have a GitHub command line. The short way of quickly get to your project with version control is to come over here, go to your repository like this. It's not a repository yet, it's just a directory. You can right click on it, and then you can see Git bash here. Of course, you have already downloaded Git bash. And this will give you a path to your directory. So I'm calling it a directory now because it's not a repository yet. Okay, as you can see, I'm currently on my directory, fraud detection project. All right. Because this is your first time of using Git, so you need to set or configure your Git, right? And we have this line of code which will help you to do that. So the first thing to do is to do this. Of course, you have your username already on the website and you have already set up your password. So what you do is to copy and paste this and come over to your Git, right? Right click and click on paste. So now you have this, and then you can put your username there. Remove John Doe and put your name there, GBG analyst. Okay, you press enter, so it has stored it automatically. Then you need to also set your email by using git config global username. You don't need to memorize this, it's just one time setup. So then you come here, put this one there, right? And then you put your email, the email you use to open your GitHub account, gbganalyst@gmail.com. Then you press enter. So I think that is just the first thing to do. And if you want to also change other configuration, then you can go with this. So let me send this link to you in case you are doing this for the first time. All right. Okay, great. For the first time. And let's say you have actually done this before, right? And maybe something happens, so you want to change your username and password, everything, and you want to set a new Git configuration. You will likely have a problem, when you are pushing, all right? So I just got to know this by typing credential on your search bar here, and you can see all the accounts that have been stored on your computer. So if you come to Windows credentials, you can see this is GitHub, this is GitLab, and all of that. You can come over here. If something is not good, you can just remove it and set a new one by using what you did before. And that is how to set up Git on your account. I believe everybody is clear with that, right? And if you have any question, you can just unmute yourself. So now that we have configured our account, right? So we need to set up Git on our repository. And the first thing to do is to just use Git init. Remember I said that you don't need to do all of this because you can actually, do that one by ourselves. And in the last slide, we'll talk about how to some other Git command. So I'll just come over here and just say git init. So before I put git init on my command line, let's see how my repository looks like. So it looks like this, as you can see. There is nothing like git here, all right? And if you just jump now and just type git status, you see, it will tell you that this is not a git repository. Therefore, I need to initiate my git. Now, as you can see, now you can see what happens here. So I have .git directory here, so which is tracking everything I'm doing. Okay, that is what I want to do first. All right, so I want to explain a good workflow for your project. Remember, this is all about reproducible research, and everything must be organized. So therefore, you must have a README. What's a README? A README, okay. Please, can you see my folder? Nothing is showing. Hello? Okay, let me stop sharing and share again. Okay, so this is a README, right? So what's a README? A README is just a plain text that shows something about your project. Okay, so you have to explain it clearly so that anybody can easily understand what your project is all about. Okay, so hello.
They are complaining here that the screen is lagging. Maybe you can come back and for listening.
Okay, is it okay now?
Yeah, is it okay? Is it older like from the beginning? Yeah. Okay, so you might not able to see the folder since the beginning, so maybe from there you can just.
Okay, let me try to settle this problem of Git. I think this screen should make it fine now. Okay, so from the beginning, right? So we have this one that GitHub has given us the line of code, as you can see. And I said that the first thing to do is to set up the git init, which I have done here. As you can see, I have git init here. And for my folder now, I can see something like .git for my directory. So which means that this is a Git repository. And I was talking about the README. And what I'm talking now is all about how a professional scientific research project should look, right? We have the README. And README is just talking about a summary of your project. I don't need to start reading everything before I understand what your project is all about. So you have to have a descriptive README. One, stating the title of the work, and then the explanation of what happens there, everything, as you can see, so that you can easily look at it and understand it clearly. And I also showed how you can get started with this project, then the result of the project before you even start, replicating it, and the conclusion and that. As you can see, so this is Git, this is a README. So it's very, very important to always include a README file on your repository. Then you must have a data file, right? So not that somebody will start struggling to get the data that you use in your project. You must have a data file, and that is what you have here. Okay. Then, if possible, you can also have a result directory, okay, that will store the kind of result that you have. It could be images, it could be a file, and all of that. As you can see, that's what you have here. And then if you use scripts, of course, it's also important to also add a script directory. So if you have so many scripts, you can put them here, and you must have a good name for your scripts so that somebody can see that and how to replicate it. And I think that is all. Now, let's see how we can put this into our GitHub repository. Remember, we've already created a Git repo, and we call it fraud detection project, right? And we have set up our Git init. Now, let's start diving into what we have learned before in that Git command. Remember, we talked about Git status, which shows everything. As you can see, it shows the history of your work. So here now you have README, data, result, and script. and they are not in the staging area. That is, you have not added them. So what you need to do is to start adding each of these into the staging area so that Git can start tracking it. Okay, I have 14 minutes left. Okay, good. So let's do that. Git add, then the name of the file. You can see, you can press tab to make it in full, and then you can just run it. So now this has been added. Then we also have this git add, then the data, right? So after you have put this one in the staging area, then you can also commit it, git commit, to show what you have done, git commit -m, and this one will now show up in your GitHub account. So you can just say added readme file, something like this, readme file. Okay, now this has been done, and then the same thing, git add, then data, the data file that you have. Git add data. Okay, as you can see, this has been added. Then you put your commit there until you are done. Then, although they said we should not be using that, so you can also use git add dot, which will automatically add everything right into your staging area. So if you want to do that, you can actually do that at once. Because of this session, we have limited time, right? And now you can look at your Git status to see what happened. Okay, you can see this file has been added. Then it's good to commit what you just did now, git commit -m, and saying that you added, for example, code repo. You added code files to the repository. Okay, this is done now, right? Then if you want to see what you have done on the website, so you have to follow up with all of this. So we've added our readme, we've commented our message, and then you can just copy and paste everything here like that. Okay, then you paste it, and then boom. So as you can see, git push. What git push we do is to push it to the main repo. So if everything is fine, it will give you the address of your repo. So it's trying to load something. I think we have big data there. So let me see this data. Oh my God, it's so much. Because of that, it's too. Let me close it because that data is. I can actually use git ignore, right? So what git ignore will do is to ignore a particular file so that it not get to the GitHub repository. Or let me just remove the data. Let me delete it for the sake of this project. But if you are the one doing it, you have to put everything into your GitHub. Okay, so let me run it again. All right, let me see git status. You can see I deleted this file. Then you can see git. So it's telling me to commit it, right? So I can just say git add. Okay, then git commit -m. So I deleted the credit card data due to time limit, something like that. Okay, good. Then I can just git push. Okay, ask no upstream. Remember, we did not finish all of this, so we can just come here and run it. Okay, as you can see now, it's loading up everything into the website. It's loading up everything on the website. And once everything is fine, then we have, so you can just refresh this page and we have your repo being set up for you. So I have 9 minutes more, which is fine. Okay, so while we are waiting for this to be done, so let's see how to create a GitLab account. So the same thing, you come here, gitlab.com, right? Gitlab.com. I already have an account. Then you can just create a project. So just the same way, create a project. So here now you can create a blank project, put your project name there. Okay. So once you put it, let's say credit card fraud. So if there's a space, it will automatically put this one there, dash, as you can see. Otherwise, you can just have a better name like this. All right. Then it's either private or public. Public. Do you want to initialize repository with README? No. And then you create a project. Okay, so if you come to the Git, this is done now, right? So if you come over here and then you can refresh it, then you have your work. Let me see. I think, okay. Okay, it's telling me that the remote ended unexpectedly. Okay, let me try again. Git push. Okay, so it's telling me what to do. I don't know what happened here, but let's see. Sorry, git push set upstream origin main. Okay, so it's going again. So for the GitLab, just like you set up the Git configuration for GitLab, so we are going to do the same for the GitHub. So you do the same thing for GitLab. So put your username, put the password using git config of a thing, and then you can start putting your work into the repository. But let's see what this one will look like. Why is the remote ending up unexpectedly? Okay, let me see. Is it my website? Is it my internet? Okay, as you can see, we have a problem here, but what you can do now is if you have a problem like this, it's good if you have this problem. So you can just remove this, remove everything you have done here. Okay, now we've deleted our Git of a thing. Okay, then you can redo everything again. So what you do is set up the Git init. All right, as you can see, a fresh one, and then come to this guy that gave us everything. Then for the sake of our time, I can just say git add. If you do git status, you will see that you need to add all of this. And with this short code, it's not good to be doing this. So you have to be adding it one by one, right? But for the sake of our time, I can just use git add dot, which will put everything in the staging area. As I said before, and then I can then print it git commit -m. So added twice to the repo, something like this. As you can see now, then remember I have committed everything. Then from here now, you just copy and paste it to the repository. Okay, then run it. So I believe with this now, everything will be fine. Could it be my internet? Please, can you hear me clearly? Hello? Can you hear me clearly? All right, great. Thank you. So we are now at 7%. So let's wait for it. So it will be done before our times run out. We have 4 minutes more, and let's see. The remote end all unexpectedly. Why is this problem coming? Why is this problem coming? Okay. As you can see, when you are using version control, you may be having a problem like this, but don't worry. So what you can do now is, because of this problem, you can just come over here, settings, and you can just delete it and do it again. Remember, you still have everything on your local computer, so no problem, just try to delete it, because I don't know why we have this problem. So I can just copy and paste this. Come here, delete the repository. So it's telling me to use my authenticator. Then I can come to my authenticator, get the code, Right, has changed. 75640. So then this will be deleted, right? And I can just do it again. So sorry, so just happens like that. Okay, so let me just try to remove my Git. Okay, now get this repository name out, fraud detection project. Okay, put this guy here, public, yes, no readme, create a repo. Okay, so now you can start everything again. You can just clear this and then set up, close this guy. All right, come here again, right click, git bash here, as you can see, git status to see what happened. As you can see, there is no git again. So let's quickly do that before our time. Now we have done that, so we have the git now. Okay, so let's just try to git add everything, git add. Okay, git commit message. Git is giving me problem. It is giving me. Don't do that, please. Added file to repo. Okay, good. So now, then from here now, maybe I should do it one by one. Git branch -m main. Hello.
Yeah, so thank you very much. The session has been awesome. So I don't know if you can start taking questions now because we're having the 3 minutes of the session.
All right, please.
Thank
Any
you.
question for me? Please let me quickly do this within 2 minutes. Sorry, so that we can see how it looks like and you can easily see the issues and everything.
Yeah, there's a question from here.
Okay, what is it?
It says,
Okay, good. So, sorry, please. I think we are done. As you can see, everything is fine. Okay, then you can refresh this page. All right, good. Now we have our repository set up, as you can see. So our readme looks fine, everything fine, and anybody can easily come and contribute. And for the process of project management, if you are doing your project, you can start creating issues. So start new issue. Maybe you have a particular website or link or a research project you see, and you can just say the title of the project. Let's say credit card, and if you see a particular link that you later reference, so you can just put it here, a www something like that, and then you create the new issues so that when next time you come here again, you can start resolving your issues. And that is all about reproducible research. Please go on now for the question. Thank you so much.
A round of applause for Gloria. Can we just give it one applause? Please come with a clap emoji to celebrate the wonderful delivery by Ezekiel. So we have some questions. There's one from here, okay, from the people on site, and that's what's the difference between GitHub and GitLab?
Oh, okay. So Git is a version control system, right? So GitLab or GitHub is a website that hosts your Git so that you can have access to everything on the website. So that's just the difference between the two.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes. No, as I said, no, I think we need more clarity here. Ezekiel.
Okay.
Because the participant that asked questions not yet gotten it. I don't know if you can just repeat yourself.
Oh, I've said it before. Git is a version control system, right? So which helps you to have versioning of your project, right? And GitHub or GitLab is a website that hosts that version control. And the website could be GitHub, GitLab, and other websites that can host the version control. So that's the difference between the two. And somebody was saying that can we use this offline? Of course, you can use Git offline. Remember all of this, Git add, Git commit, everything. But when you are pushing, you need a website to push it to the website because you are pushing to a website server. So for that, you need a website. But if you're just working on your project and everything, and you are not pushing, but you are trying to put your files into staging area, you are putting a message about what you have done and none of that, you don't need you don't need an internet for that.
Okay, so another question from here. It says, can we access Git lab from Git Bash?
Can we access? Yes, the same thing. What you need to do is you have to configure your GitLab the way we did for GitHub. So the same line of codes that we have here, the same line of code. Where is it? Git username. As you can see, git config global username. So this will be the username for your GitLab. Git config global user email. This will be the email of your GitLab. And then you start working on your projects. Remember, and if you have a problem and it's telling you that something happens, just come to the credential manager and then try to come to the Windows credentials. You see the list of what you have here. So you can, as you can see now, I have this one now. So if I don't have access to this server of UWE, I will not be able to push to GitLab. Okay, if I'm using maybe another GitLab account of a particular school or institution, so I will need to have the username and password. All right, then I can just delete it. For example, now I can delete this guy. Okay, then everything will work fine, and then you can push, and it will get to the website.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Dike. We have two more questions, and that will be all from here.
Okay.
Then what's the difference between having file from GitLab and from Git Bash and GitHub? What's the difference between having file from GitHub and Git Bash?
Okay. The difference is clear. So if you are using Git to add your files, so that means that you are using a command line. But if you are using the website, you are just uploading. And sometimes when the file storage is much, so you won't be able to upload. And those people that are uploading, I always call them amateur, right? Because I can easily see what your comment will look like. Upload file. I can see, this guy did not know how to use version control.
Okay, thank you very much. There is just one last question. And then before we hand it over to the next speaker, and that is what as you can host or websites on GitHub. I also do that with GitLab.
You mean the website, right? Yes, yes, yes. The same way as I showed before. Let me quickly show it again. No, no, for the sake of that person. So as you can see, this is the GitLab. This is the website. You can see the interface. You can see the interface. So you can start working with the tool. So it's always good to have the two accounts because sometimes if you work with a particular company, they can say they are using GitLab. In that case, you have to have GitLab account. If you are working to another like DSL now, DSL is using, I think, GitHub. So that means that it is compulsory for you to have a GitHub account.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Mr. Can you turn around for visitor? Thank you very much. This online, thank you. It's a clap emoji that celebrates the okay, go